Disruption is an unprecedented and unstoppable evolutionary force in business today. 85% of organizations say they are being disrupted, and 88% say this will increase in the short term.
In the next 5 years, we're going to experience just as much change as we've seen in the last 3 decades alone. That is thanks to this growing confluence of both emerging and next-generation technologies. We're talking about things like deep machine learning, immersive mixed reality, second-generation biometric security, and advanced data science.
Given the speed, scale and complexity of the changes unleashed, how well are your companies prepared to survive in these turbulent times? To answer that question, we asked the leaders who have to cope with all this turbulence, are you confident you have the leadership fit to face disruption? In association with Harvard Business Review Analytics Service, we surveyed nearly 2,000 board members, executives and senior managers from every major market, including CEOs. The first ever Odgers Berndtson Leadership Confidence Index reveals that, across the world, only 15% of executives are confident in their leaders to deliver through disruption, which clearly leaves a large majority lacking confidence in their leaders, including the all-important CEO.
I think most organisations recognise that change is imminent and that the strength of existing leadership, and therefore the strength of the enterprise, depends on senior leaders being agile, not just managing digital change, but learning to drive it as well.
One of the key areas where confidence really bottoms out is in the ability to find and keep the right talent to cope with disruption. In fact, it was on questions of talent that we saw the lowest overall confidence for all organizations. Having an adequate pipeline of talent and effective succession planning were particular low spots. This chimes with an earlier McKinsey study that identified similar deficits in leadership and talent. But what kind of leadership and talent is required? Is it possible to dial up confidence? We used the data from the nearly 2,000 respondents to compare confident organizations against the rest, to understand what gives them the leadership confidence and the potential competitive advantage. What we found was that whilst all organizations are challenged by legacy systems and operations, it is the leadership mindset, particularly their vision and preparedness for change, which separates the confident from the less so. Boards and execs alike want curious leaders with real courage and vision. What's more, it's a leader's agility, resilience and strategic thinking that are the qualities most in demand.
We call these CEOs disruptive digitalizers. These are individuals who have the mindset and resourcefulness to make this transformational change happen. Those CEOs who are out there in our global world, moving ahead of the game, question the status quo. They're the individuals who are what we call the outside-in visionaries.
So, what do you do if leadership confidence is at a low ebb? There are 3 ways forward. The first challenge is quite simple: adapt or die. This adaptation must happen at pace.
Historically, companies had a 5-year strategy plan, they ran through it, and then they could renew that and start for the next 5 years. What's happened is over the last couple of years, that's stopped working, and the strategy needs to be renewed each year. So this is a big challenge for leaders.
This approach of constantly revisiting and refreshing strategy takes the courage and humility to let go of historic paths of success and forge new ones. It requires a broader sharing of responsibilities in a flatter organization that demands far greater genuine collaboration. Key too is moving the focus of core C-suite leaders onto future evolution, rather than today's operations. Asia Pacific is offering a glimpse of that future.
In Asia Pacific, most C-suites have someone in their late 30s, early 40s. On boards though, we've yet to see this change, and they're still generally older people. But Asia is such a digitally driven ecosystem that's rapidly absorbing and adopting new technology that we expect that boards and their composition will change also.
As the Odgers Berndtson Leadership Confidence Index found, globally talent is absolutely key to navigating disruption. The pool of suitable talent is small, the scarce talent is at a premium, and the competition for it has new rules. To compete, leaders must go beyond reward as the main attraction.
Theme 2 is that talent is behaving differently. The millennial generation, everybody needs to hire people of this generation, but they want something different from organisations today. They want an organisation to provide them with meaning. The company's not just about providing a return for shareholders, but it has a place in the world, that it has a responsibility to the broader community. And young people will not join a company unless they have that. It's not about window dressing, this needs to be real.
As well as demonstrating real vision and purpose, the survey found that to attract and retain talent, companies must enable innovation, not hinder it. For today's recruits, investment in their professional development is non-negotiable too, and that should be complemented by an actively planned succession plan to ensure that each and every talent finds its most effective place in the organization. Finally, even the greatest strategy is of no use without the leadership to release its potential. But our new world of complexity and uncertainty challenges the definition of leadership and looks for something different.
Pace of change is such that leaders are not able to understand and take in everything that's coming at them. So a new level of humility is emerging amongst companies that are being successful here, and that humility is that leaders are allowing people to challenge them more, they're listening to others, there's group discussion about making decisions and at multiple layers within the organisation. And this is demanding a different kind of person to lead organisations.
Humility, courage, curiosity, adaptability, resilience, emotional intelligence. These are the characteristics required now. And the key to finding them is to focus on a leader's potential and mindset, not simply their skills or past performance. The uncomfortable truth for some CEOs is that a strong track record does not equate to having the capabilities to deal with future disruptions.
It's not just about having a digital guru or chief digital officer or chief innovation officer anymore. Setting the tone for digital transformation is a top-down exercise. It has to come from the top, and that means the CEO needs to change.
There is one certainty in all of this. The world isn't going to get any simpler. Likewise, the challenges for leaders and their organizations. But as our Global Leadership Confidence Index has indicated, it is possible to identify, nurture and develop leaders who can deliver value in the face of accelerating disruption and uncertainty. Of that, we can be confident.